Family, we gotta talk. Thanks for being here. And real quick, I want to thank Bobby for donating to the channel. I want to thank Mafia for donating to the channel. I want to thank DC Mister for donating to the channel. And I want to thank Marnell. Thank you guys so much. Every single dollar means so much. And it helps me keep going because we know what the channel's doing right now. Anyway, thank you all.
Let's get high, yeah, you know I'm about to roll. Let's get please, yeah, you know I gotta pull. Let's live life, live once I'm about to turn up. Get fly, oh for sure it's about to go up. Let's get high, yeah, you know I'm about to roll. Let's get please, yeah, you know I gotta pull. Let's live life, live once I'm about to turn up. Get fly, oh for sure it's about to go up. Roll my blunt and pass my lighter. Lit pop shit, get higher. I'm the hottest, call me fire. Rock out, jump up, live my life up.
Alright, so there's been some talks about Cardi B, Nicki, Voodoo, and other things. And when I did a little bit more digging on the situation, guess whose name popped up? And she's on the side of Nicki. Just guess. Tasha K. Tasha K's playing with fire. That's all I can say. We know how these people get down that they're talking about, but we really know how they get down spiritually and how conniving they are. Yeah, so let's check out some of these clips that I'm gonna bring up, and I want to know your guys' thoughts about this. $ Trap House Kitchen 1. Make sure you guys donate to the channel if you want to keep it going. Let's get to it. So what we're reading is a tweet from Tasha K, and it says, I sent Nicki Minaj proof of text messages ordering thousands of dollars worth of witchcraft on her career and personal life in the DR. After it was done, her brother went to jail, her dad was blanked, and she was blackballed. Kenny's relationship with his girlfriend, on who he was wrongly accused of blanking, surfaced. There is a statement from the victim admitting she lied on him. Nicki knows who did it. Ask her. The receipts are legit. We report real news. We stand for the truth. Now, there was somebody's name that came up, and he is the rapping camel. We know Cardi's tied to him, and he's tied to certain stuff, soul cooking or whatever they called it, and yeah, you guys get the picture. Anyways, moving on. Now, I want to speak on this David situation. again. I feel like it's a humiliation ritual because nobody has came out, and he hasn't gotten any sponsorships back, or he hasn't gotten his tour back. No, nothing. Should he? No, because of that age thing. But here's the thing, you guys. This little girl was failed by her parents, society, and just as a whole, period. Law enforcement, everybody failed this little girl. And the thing is, I say that because she was too grown for her age and trying to be hood. You couldn't tell her nothing. And it was a video that said so much to me when she was yelling at the neighbors. They was yelling back, but it was an adult that was by the little girl, and they said nothing. They just kept sweeping like it was a wonderful day, birds chirping and bees stinging. Like you would have, couldn't be me. No matter how my daughter act, I would have said something to the neighbors and her little butt. Anyway, check out this info that TMZ popped up. And yeah, I'm starting to think that David's in the clear as far as any harm done to her. Because being a black man and accused of these things, you're not gonna be out here free. Not whatsoever. Hell, Diddy was prosecuted before he even stepped into a courtroom. But let's continue.
Michael, a situation that you actually caught us up on last week involving the pop singer David and Celeste Rivas, who's this 17-year-old, and her body was discovered, if memory serves, in the trunk of a Tesla that was found in a rental car lot in California. At the time, he was on tour. David was on tour in the Northeast, I believe, in the Seattle area, and I remember he canceled a couple shows at the time we checked in with you last. So get us kind of updated on these new police records that you guys, your newsroom, obtained these.
Yeah, and even more tragic, she was 15 now, and when she went missing, she was only 13 years old. She went missing in April of 2024. It sounds like, from everything that we've heard and been told, that she had a really troubled time at home and just a troubled life in general. In about a 14-month period, cops were dispatched out to her family home in the Los Angeles area. It's about 50 or so miles outside of LA, 11 times in that 13 or so month period.
What was going on there to where the police had to be called 11 times in a 12 to 13 month period? That's a once a month average. Was this little girl that bad, or were the parents that neglectful? Or was it both? Usually in situations like that, when you get such erratic and just compulsive, just disrespectful, wild behavior, is usually a sense of crying out. That's what it usually signifies. And if it's not met with the proper addressing and affection and consistency of like stern parenting, it's not going to do anything but get worse. And I think this is what happened. And I think that family got used to that girl not being there because it might have been easier with her not being there. The household might have been more quiet and peaceful, and so on and so forth. But I do think they knew the age, the occupation, and the life of David and this girl. I really do. They're too quiet. I haven't heard them speak out yet. But let's continue.
Nothing major, but disturbances and things like that, where they were dispatched out. And she had run away at certain periods of time. It's not that it was a one-time thing where she disappeared in April of 2024. She had run away a couple of times prior and had been returned. Sadly, this time she never came back, and she was missing until she was eventually found deceased. And it's a horribly sad story. Police trying to still figure out what happened. They have not named David a suspect, though they have raided his home. They've searched his home for blood. There are a lot of questions, and you're absolutely right. He was on tour when the body was found, but there is a lot of reason to suggest that her body was inside the vehicle for weeks before. So if this was a crime, and it wasn't an accidental death, say, if there was an actual crime here, it's been really hard nailing down when the crime happened, when her death happened. They did an autopsy. They're not even able to determine how she died. They're waiting for toxicology reports. So it's a really difficult investigation because of the length of time that passed in between. And I think everyone's taken a wait and see approach on this guy. He's a pretty big star and becoming bigger. But he had new music that was about to come out. A lot of companies and partners of his have pressed pause now, obviously trying to figure out, did he have anything to do with this horrible situation? So
I feel like TMZ might know more than what they're able to say. Something that really stood out to me was his wording when he said he's becoming even bigger of a star. Yeah. Could this be part of some type of oath or initiation, you guys? Let's be 100, because I can see it both ways. We're going to set you up on tour. We're going to set this up. You won't be around. And boom. But you got to go through this if you want to get to the greatness. I can see it. Now, I can also see maybe that family or even her, maybe somebody had access to that test. Somebody had to, but maybe somebody in the family had access to it or something like this. Or maybe the girl did. Something happened and there she was in there. We need to know who had access. And this is the thing too. If it was David, he'd be in jail because the Tesla has too many cameras. You're not gonna mess with that Tesla and not be recorded. I've seen so many videos to where they sit there and get the real story behind a traffic wreck due to a parked, unpowered Tesla car, or just Tesla period. It doesn't even have to be turned on. It records.
It's just a sad story. Again, she was 15 years old and she's gone.
Have we heard from him at all? Like, and has he publicly spoken about this? Made a statement?
No.
Nothing?
No, he has not. And you're right. He was performing. He continued to perform for a couple of days after this happened. And I think it got to the point where it's just not possible to do it anymore because the story had gotten, so much attention that he couldn't continue to tour. It just looked horrible, first of all. And I think people who were associated with him didn't want him touring. So he has not, though, to answer the question, he has not said anything yet. And I think fans and people are eager to hear him speak. They want to know what happened, because he did have some connection with this person, because there's photos, there's a lot of evidence to suggest that they might have been in some sort of, might have been a friendship, might have been a relationship, unclear, but they knew each other. That's a fact.
I'm seeing here too that there was some new surveillance, 2 different incidents, one to a liquor store.
Yeah. Because I think, there was some surveillance showing her in a dispute with a neighbor, and they're kind of having an argument seemingly back and forth. I think people are interested in the surveillance video because you want to see where she was, when she was alive, because again, it's unclear when she passed away. So I think if you see a video and it's from, pick random date, you could say, okay, obviously she was alive on that day, and it provides a timeline in many ways. So I think that's why, and people are just interested in what her life was like. Where was she living? Was she living on the street? What was going on with her? Because that can likely answer a lot of the questions here that are still unanswered.
One thing we can say about this this girl, is that a lot of the stuff we're finding out isn't good stuff. That's one thing I can say. We haven't heard anything like, oh, she did great in school, or maybe she wasn't that great of a student, but she was just great with people. She was a helper. We're not hearing any of that, and we're not seeing any of that. We're seeing her and hearing her feud with her neighbors as if she's a grown woman. We're hearing her sound hood. We're hearing her say the N-word. And we're also seeing a grown-up individual ignore the whole situation. The epitome of mind my business. Let's be real. Now, I'm not excusing David's behavior as far as engaging with a person of that age. No, we don't do that. That's a big no-no. And he does need to be dealt with properly for those actions. Do I believe this young man did anything to this woman? No, not whatsoever. I don't, because if he did, trust and believe, it'd be a different outcome. $ Trap House Kitchen 1. Thanks for being here. If you made it, say I made it. If you're here, say you're here. Let me know where you're tapping in from. All that good stuff. I'm out. Peace.